Things all varies and have different meanings. If you like what you're doing, that means it has a potential to go into loving what you're doing. If you love what you're doing, then obviously you'll go above and beyond any time, any day for what you're doing. And there's difference because your value of what you're doing is weighed at a very high price. So that means objects, money, things are not why, because you can't focus on that. That is an incentive, but the focus is on what you're doing. Why do you love what you're doing? What does it do? God says, ensure that it is beneficial for others. Because if we're all connected, you know, then you're giving powers to others, right? It's like a source of insurance and abilities of good deed that you're doing without knowing that you're doing it, right? But the projection is helping others learn what you have. So become the love, because love does not have a specific it's like you can't put it in a box. It's always growing. It doesn't have a limitation. But others like has a limitation, you know? Not like has a limitation. Like so many things have limitations, but love does not have a limitation. And it's very important because if you don't have a limitation and love does not have it, then your potential is endless. A lot of people might say, well, I'm great, but there's others that are greater. Now, they're greater because they love more, right? It doesn't matter your skills and talents. You gotta love your skills and talents in order for you to grow and become better. The fear you know, will fade. Everything will fade. The confidence will increase and the doubts will just disappear. If love is the main source of your ability. But if love is not, then it's very hard to evolve. It's very hard for you to grow. It's very hard for you to make a difference. And the difference is not with the people, right? The difference is not with the people. It's with God. It's almost like what we see as years and years of change, God sees it in milliseconds or decimal seconds, or what I mean? There is none. It's like he's always waiting, right? Because he already created life. He already knows everything that you're gonna do. And he knows your furthest potential. But he asks you to love because he also sees that even though we have physical limitations, the ability to love so great has no limitations. So that gives us a transformation. Just remember that. The ability of limitation, right? Or unlimited source of capability is love. If you have that, God is saying that everything else has a limitation. But if you have love and you love great, there is no limitation to your abilities. So therefore, you can't be put in a box because the power that you are harnessing now is connected to the source of all powers. And this power's projection has unlimited. So you'll be able to draw people to you simply because of what you are doing. And what you're doing has no limitation simply because the Spirit, the Holy Spirit that dwells within you, has none, right? So the Holy Spirit is directly from God. And if you have this ability of love, then you have a connector and you are connecting, and now the Holy Spirit is projecting through you. And the longer you keep at it, the stronger, the better you become, the greater you become. And so the greatness is not by the people, because everybody that you may think is great might not be great to God. You see what I'm saying? And those who you think are not great could be very great to God. So it's about the loving and the real honest change. And you don't have an ability of limitation. It's unlimited just by being yourself, because you can do and you can rise higher simply just by your love and your focus on God. And when you do that, then you are locked in the right path. And once you're locked in, then the words that you are saying, right, is the same as everybody else, but the energy behind it is much more. So therefore, you're going to touch a lot more people. You're going to talk to a lot more people simply because you don't know who has the other potential or who's looking for certain words that needs to be said at a certain point in time for them to elevate, because we're here and we're connected, right? And our potentials is just solely based on what we can do. What we can do is love and master the art of love. Because once we have done that, then there is no limit to how great you can become in God's perspective, because that's eternal. We're eternal beings. God made everything. And you notice that everything God makes does not die. We physically die, but we're not dead because our true selves are our spirits. And if we're not dead, that is why He has created certain, you know, dimensions for if you don't know Him, then you're going to go into the lake of fire and all of these things. But you notice it's punishment. It's not death. You don't die. The devil that have created so much, so much destruction upon the earth will not die, but will be punished eternally. So that is showing you, right? God has use for everybody. And if He has use for everybody, that should tell you that He is the life. The life that He creates is forever. And if He wants to develop a relationship with us, that means He is telling us that the main key to everyone's great source of power is love. You know, you can love in a physical perspective, you can love in a mental perspective, or you can love in a spiritual perspective, or combine the three so you have